Because of allegations made on social media about the pilots of the crashed CRJ jet in Toronto, Canada, Delta Airlines has had to make a statement about their pilots. Published yesterday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time from the Delta News Hub, information about the Endeavour Air 4819 flight crew. Endeavour Air and Delta are correcting disinformation in social media containing false and misleading assertions about the flight crew of Endeavour Air 4819. Captain, Mesaba Airlines, a progenitor company of Endeavour Air, they were merged, was hired in October of 2007. Nearly 17 years of airline flying experience. He has served both as an active duty captain and in pilot training and flight safety capacities. Assertions that he failed training events are false. Assertions that he failed to flow into a pilot position at Delta Airlines due to training failures are also false. This flow that they're talking about is major airlines. The unions at major airlines have agreements where wholly owned subsidiaries, the commuter airlines of the major airline, can flow through from that smaller airline up to the major airline. First officer, hired in January 2024 by Endeavour Air and completed training in April. January, February, March, April. So 3 to 4 months to complete training. That's about right, to do all the training and the IOE training. She's been flying for Endeavour since that time, so just under 1 year of flying time. Her flight experience exceeded the minimum requirements set by the U.S. federal regulations. More on that in a minute. Assertions that she failed training events are false. Both crew members are qualified and FAA certified for their positions. And that was put out by Delta Airlines just yesterday. Meanwhile, lawsuits have already been filed. Here we are today, February 21st. Motley Rice, attorneys at law, have filed a federal lawsuit today against Delta Airlines into Endeavour Air, the crash at Toronto, 4819. And heading up this lawsuit is James Broccoli, a former Air Force navigator, and Mary Schiavo. Remember her when she was the Inspector General of the Department of Transportation? Because of the Colgan Air disaster years ago, Congress mandated that all pilots employed by major airlines need to have their ATP rating before they can get hired by the airlines. In order to have an ATP rating, that requires a minimum of 1,500 hours of flying time. Prior to Colgan, you could get on with the airlines with a commercial rating and just 500 hours, continue to work for the airlines until you accrued 1,500 hours, then apply for your ATP or transport pilot's rating, pass the test, and then get on as a captain, move from the right seat to the left seat on that airline. By Congress raising the bar to 1,500 hours, it helped exacerbate the pilot shortage and the lack of experience that we're seeing in the airlines today. In order to alleviate this pressure, the FAA developed the Restricted ATP program, which allows for pilots who graduate from FAA-approved training programs or schools. It allows pilots with fewer than 1,500 hours of flight time to obtain a restricted ATP license. And a restricted ATP allows a pilot to serve as a co-pilot until he or she obtains the necessary 1,500 hours. So you can get a restricted ATP with as little as 1,000 hours if you have a bachelor's degree from one of the approved schools listed below, and you are in compliance with the rest of the regulation 61-160B. And here in 61-160, you military guys, you can get on with as little as 750 hours with a restricted ATP rating, provided you comply with the rest of the details here in 6160A. So that is some of the minimum flight time requirements required by the FAA that Delta is referencing here in their message. So it's terribly misleading to be making allegations about these pilots before we've even announced the official names of the pilots involved in this accident. I know if I were involved in an accident as a major airline pilot, I would be terribly upset at these allegations if they turned out to be false. But the lawyers are already circling the wreckage, and they will open up the training records, and we will get to the bottom of all this. But it's going to take a while. Looking at this drone footage shot by the Transportation Safety Board of Canada, we can see that the left wing still appears to be attached to the aircraft. The left main gear is still attached. Right wing cleanly broken off, with the aircraft spun around back into the direction from which it was landing. Chasing algorithms in social media for likes and subscribes and more views is no way to report and inform. Thank you so much for your support of this channel, and especially to the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.